coverage in paying tributes to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. We now have Chief Economic Advisor Anantha Nageswaran, who is joining us, and Latha is here to take that conversation forward.
Thanks a lot for that, Hormuz. And Dr. Anantha Nageswaran, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us. You know him both personally as well as you know India from an economist point of view. First, the latter, how would you analyze or how would you wrap up Dr. Singh's legacies for India's economy?
Thank you, Latha. Good to join you on this conversation. I think I really don't have to say anything more than what has been said by a lot of other illustrious people regarding his contribution and legacy to the Indian economy post 1990s, especially. I think he was the right man at the right moment for India to drive the economic liberalization. The fact that he himself was not an instinctive liberalizer, but he had the intellectual courage and flexibility to change his mind and champion economic liberalization. Also, very famously echoing some of the sentiments of Mr. Milton Friedman by saying that the time for free lunch was over, etc. When he moved when he spoke at the parliament, all those things are etched in people's memory. And to a large extent, the fact that India's growth rate post 1990s has picked up obviously owes a lot to the liberalization pursued at that time with the political support provided by the then Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao, and Dr. Manmohan Singh, therefore, will have an important place in the economic history of India.
Okay. Yes, take your point, sir. But you must have already been working perhaps in some place in Singapore, in somewhere in the banking sector in the world. The fact that India had a convertible exchange rate, convertible rupee, at least in the current account, something which even a large economy like China is still struggling to do and has administered rates. Was that a talking point in your time?
Actually, when those decisions were made in the early 90s, after 2 or 3 rounds of devaluation, bringing the rupee in alignment with the curb market valuations, etc., the official exchange rate and the market exchange rate were aligned. I must say that at that time I was pursuing my PhD in the United States and not yet in the financial market space. But incidentally, my dissertation, as you know, was on exchange rate behavior.
Yes.
I think, yes, the current account convertibility and the gradual liberalization started then. And I'm also aware that I am sitting in this role, a role that he occupied 5 decades ago as a chief economic advisor. There isn't a major economic policy role that he hasn't performed in his illustrious career.
Yeah, fair point, sir. The second innings as Prime Minister, I mean, if the period of 1991 brought growth and wealth to, the middle class, so to speak, in the innings as Prime Minister, he at least tried to spread the benefits to a larger segment through the MNREGA, through the Food Security Act. Would that also be a lasting contribution, the social net?
I mean, yes, up to a point, you could definitely say that, yes.
Okay. If you look back, what is the enduring legacy you would say he has left
definitely.
behind?
The enduring legacy is that he unshackled, together with the Prime Minister, Dr. Narasimha Rao, he did contribute to unshackling the Indian economy in the 1990s, and all of us are still continuing to do that. And that important template was set then in 1991 in the wake of the balance of payments crisis that we faced. Yeah.
Mr. Nageswaran, good afternoon. Dr. Singh did so many things that sometimes we forget some other reforms that he did. It was under his leadership when he was the Prime Minister that we had first the fortnightly review and then the daily review of petrol and diesel prices. Do you think at that point it was possible? I mean, a lot of people thought that perhaps that was something which was untouchable. After that, perhaps we have gone back on those reforms, but do you think that's something which also is something that he should get a lot of credit for?
Sure. I think that was also an important contribution. Agree.
Dr. Anantha Nageswaran, would you recall any personal anecdotes, any joke, any event?
No, I think I was probably not that close to him, except for one or two conversations I have had with him. And all I can recall is that even when I was not part of the government, but as a private individual, had come to his residence in 2002 when he was not in the office and wanted to brief him about an impact investment fund that I was helping set up, which was very early days for impact investing in India in 2002. And all I remember very well was not only he heard me out, encouraged me, and also came all the way to the gate of his residence to see me off as I sat in the yellow top black taxi. It was not necessary for him to do so. I was just a nobody at that time, and I had just come to brief him and take his blessings and his views. But for him to come and see me off all the way up to the gate just showed how, no matter how intellectually formidable he was, at his heart, he was a very simple man and a man of, great simplicity and courtesy for everybody to a fault. He was courteous to a fault. So those were the things I can recall in my very brief and one-off personal interaction with him. And that has stayed in my mind for a long time.
Okay. Well, that point is taken, sir. In fact, you are perhaps the umpteenth guest on the show saying that he came and opened the door for us to see us off. Dr. Subbarao said that, Ragurajan said that, Rangarajan said that. I mean, clearly, his courtesy and his simplicity is something that everyone took home after a conversation with him. Would you say his ability to delegate and ability to be advised is something that, interpersonally, not just big policy makers, is something perhaps everyone should take home? That's one thing we got from everyone.
I do not know enough to comment on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, final thoughts, abiding legacy, unfinished task, anything you want to leave us with?
No, I mean, I think we already spoken enough about the fact that subsequent governments, regardless of political background, etc., have continued to stay on the path of economic liberalization. I mean, the current Prime Minister has repeatedly said that government has no business to be in business, and he has taken up the cause of advancing the ease of doing business. We have liberalized foreign direct investment rules, and corporate taxes are lower, facilitating capital formation, etc. And also fiscal prudence and reduction in the fiscal deficits, etc. All those policies that the current government is pursuing, that the late Dr. Manmohan Singh would have been quite happy to endorse and approve of.
Point taken, sir. Thank you very much indeed for joining us with your thoughts and memories.
Thank you.
Well, this is indeed a point that we should be proud of as, citizens of India. The Indian political economy and the political system is able to take the baton. What makes for a good relay race? Only when each runner cleanly hands over the baton, and that government after government is, they're not cancelling previous, walking back on big policy decisions taken. The cleanness with which policy is being handed over from government to government is what I think we should take home from what Dr. Nageswaran is telling us.